Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at e-commerce Galaxy Weekly Roundup. Today we have Troy with us from Seller.Tools. Thank you so much, Troy, for joining us today. Thank you. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, great. So we would love to hear from you a little about yourself, like how did you started and how did you started the Seller.Tools? What are the thoughts behind the to take a step on the Seller.Tools?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I started my journey with FBA on the seller side. So I started back in 2015, which seems like forever ago now, especially in Amazon years. But I started in through the Amazing Selling Machine course at the time. I kind of stumbled into it by looking for different side hustles and generating income outside of what was my corporate job at the time. And so saw this opportunity of FBA, which again, back then it was sort of a little bit more unproven, I would say, than it is today, where you had a lot less people showing exceptional results, or not the quantities of people, let's say, at that time. So started through that program, which gave me some really great guidance in terms of what to look out for, some of the fundamentals, optimization, sorting, sourcing products, scaling on Amazon, ranking reviews, really great foundation at that point in time. And so I got started on the other side of taking that course, and my first product was in the health and beauty space. And so really served me to get into a pretty competitive category, sort of threw me into the deep end to really make sure I knew what I was doing on Amazon with the competitive landscape, how saturated it was, even at that point in time. A lot of malicious, competitors would do whatever it took, which is still the case today, to earn that top spot. And so it really served me in those early days to make sure I started to play at the top of my game and really understand the inner workings of Amazon, what was rewarded, how to truly scale a brand, how to broaden and build a legitimate brand, even in those early days. So started to build that, scale that brand, and it was acquired about 2.5 years since its inception, and so moved on from selling to consulting and advising. I was very fortunate in my network to be working with a lot of 7-8 figure sellers and earners, and so many of them were sort of trying to implement a lot of the same things I was doing in my business. They were in very competitive categories. They were dealing with cutthroat competition, and they were looking for the bleeding cutting edge. What's sort of the latest and greatest? So supplements, as an example, was one of the categories that I branded, that I consulted for. So did that for about a year, and then the opportunity that is Seller.Tools was presented to me again through my network, where my now business partners were sort of building out tools that they wanted and needed in their own businesses. And we're not in the beginning necessarily thinking about making these broadly available tools that the entire community can use, but really sort of solving their own problems of where they were seeing lack of automation, lack of optimization, clear competitive advantage that tools can really offer you. That was the beginning stages. And so my partner now, Brennan Morris, another 8-figure seller, really we just hashed out, hey, this is something that's really has big potential if we open it up to the community. And so I formally joined Seller.Tools at that time. That was about 3.5 years ago, through an Amazon event that we had a chance to connect at and talk at length. And really since then, we have grown Seller.Tools from what was focused on data. At that point in time, we were innovating with a lot of the search volume, the metrics that we were able to make available to sellers. And now what we do is really aim to automate the most important things an Amazon seller should focus on: ranking and reviews, and then just features just built around that. We know that that's where you should be spending your time, what you should be focusing on. It's a reason why you sell on Amazon. And so now we've just built tools to automate ranking on Amazon for your most important keywords, getting more Amazon reviews, getting better Amazon reviews. And that's what we focus on today.
Okay, great. That is awesome. So as for the beginner sellers, because we have a lot of beginner sellers, so what do you suggest for the beginners? How to get more Amazon reviews using chatbots?
Using chatbots, I mean, the one of the ways that you want to think about being able to request reviews is being mindful of sort of the um, the now sort of old and outdated strategies that I think a lot of sellers have relied on, and you can see this a little bit more where there is still a dependency on things like buyer seller messaging, assuming that post purchase emails that we send out through Amazon's messaging system, that those are delivered. We can safely, you know, include messaging or copy in there that requests reviews. Um, really thinking through what other opportunities are there. And so Amazon's done a great job of this, where the request review button in Seller Central is it's another opportunity for sellers to be able to use that and take advantage of every single order and every single customer, the potential of requesting that review. And what we've done it with tools is we've said, okay, Amazon's created this very manual, sort of clunky experience that's still beneficial, still something you want to use as a seller. But instead of you clicking through your 10 orders, your 20 orders, your 100 orders, and 100 clicks, what we can do is go in there and say, well, take one click and then take 1,000 of your orders and automatically send out those request reviews, which show up to your customer as Amazon branded emails. Now, where that has evolved to, and as you with the question in terms of chatbots, is that what we've also been able to do, and sellers can tap into this. Obviously, I view this in the lens of Seller.Tools, but just thinking more broadly, how you can use chatbots to get more Amazon reviews, is that more functions have become available from Amazon that we can tie in with chatbots. And so one of the things that you'll see, so I'll allude to one of our free mini chat flows. One of the strategies that we love to do, so we make sure we take advantage of every customer and every purchase, is we'll include a product insert. And in that product insert, it gives the customer the potential to get some type of value from us. It's a free product, whether it's an ebook, whether it's a video that shows them how best to use their product, use the product that they've purchased. We lead with value. And that's the sort of the beginning stages of this free flow that we implement. What we tie into that towards the back end, after we've delivered value, and we can kind of expect goodwill from that customer. It takes advantage of a sort of a psychological principle, reciprocity, where if you do something good for somebody, they're more apt to reciprocate, to provide that back to you. And so that's the strategy of this free flow. We deliver value first. And then what we'll do is on the back end, after we've done that, we'll automatically send this customer a well-timed review request. And the beauty of this is with chatbots, this is a constant thread anytime you use chat marketing. The amount of control that you have is that timing can be so perfect. It can be so exact to when your customer may be getting the most value out of your product. And so we think about things like, supplements, where maybe your product, and again, this is where understanding your customer and your product is important. Maybe after 10 days, 14 days, in terms of product use, customer experience, and them getting the most benefit, that may be the perfect time to send out that review request. Well, you can configure your mini chat flow to do this all automatically, completely hands off. You just plug in that 10 days, you deliver the value, you follow up with that review request, and that customer experience is fully automated. But you get so much out of that. Not only do you get the review and the review request, but you know who your customer is. You've started to build your customer list, and you can go back to those customers to rank, re-rank, or rank for more keywords for any one product. So that is a strategy we're spending a lot of time on now. It's a big reason, like for us, we've made a flow available for free that is truly that. It's leading with value, well-timed review request. And that review request, it's the beauty of it today is that if it's sort of as if we had a magic wand, because what Amazon has done is they said through this, it's what it is. It's the Amazon API. If that sounds like something that you're not familiar with, you don't have to worry about that. That's something we worry about at Seller.Tools. All that means is that we can just control the timing in which an Amazon branded email goes out to a customer. That's all you really have to think about as a seller. We make that all available, and then you just plug in, man, 10 days would be perfect. I'm giving this customer value. I'm delivering that review request. And then you could get more creative. And this is where we'll add on to our many chat flows, maybe a follow-up email where on the other side of that review request, we'll let the customer know, hey, we noticed Amazon sent you an email to request a review. We're hoping you received it. Did you have any questions? Or we send a text message and we follow up in the same manner where we sort of reinforce the Amazon email that has been sent to that customer, but we check in with them through these other communication channels that chatbots and chat marketing really open for us as a seller.
Okay, that's nice. So, what do you think? How much conversion is increased through these seller chatbots? Like, we know that the organic review ratio is around 1% or max 2%. So, if we use chatbots, then how much it increases?
It really can. So it depends on your product and what type of offer or what the way that you're delivering value. And so we like to recommend if a seller's open to this and it makes financial sense, a free gift or a free product is very compelling for a customer. They're more apt and more likely to act on it. And that's a lot more value that you're giving than necessarily an ebook, right? Where you're sort of asking a customer, even though it's valuable, you're sort of asking them to invest more time, effort, and energy. With a free product, you get it, you enjoy it, you get more benefit right away. More often is the case. And so with free gifts, with more value that you deliver, you may see that 25 to 30% review capture through this type of strategy. If you're on the lower end, the value that you share based on the price point, based on what you're delivering to the customer, you may be looking at closer to that 10 to 20% in terms of a range that you could work with for review capture. But the beauty of this, again, is because if you use inserts or stickers, it's just something that you include in your packaging, is that you really have, if not 100, you have about a 98% chance of a customer seeing that, seeing the QR code, seeing the link, what you present in that insert, of then taking part. And so you've got such a high number, such a high threshold to work with, that it leads to such great potential in terms of review capture and conversion rates.
Okay, great. So, do you think that the insert card design or the content on it uh, delivers the best value in terms of enforcing customer to scan the QR code?
Yeah, one of the best practices we recommend is having both a QR code and a link. And I'm a really big fan if you're comfortable with creating subdomains of your website too. A subdomain is a really great way to create a vanity URL, and by that it's just a pretty URL, pretty link that you include on your insert or packaging. And so it could just as easily be gift.yourwebsite.com, and that way your customers can easily understand what the link is. It's a really great way of reinforcing who you are and what your brand is. But then you have both options there. You have this QR code, and then you have this vanity URL where somebody just quickly glancing at it can say, "Oh yeah, gift.yourwebsite.com." They can very easily plug that in and have no issues with getting to their final destination, kicking off the flow. And of course, we use ref URLs in ManyChat as that feature to then kick off our flow. So they'll be brought right into, if they're on mobile, brought right into our ManyChat flow. If they're on desktop, same goes to where they'll kick off the next steps in our ManyChat flow.
Okay, great. So if we talk about the vanity URL, it helps in several ways. Like if you add the pixels at the back end, then it helps you to understand the customer behavior and all that avatar thing. And then
Exactly.
we can create the lookalike audience from that data to target more customers.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I usually don't allude. So sometimes there is a struggle to use, and subdomains are a little bit more technical, but you're right. You can pass through more information. You can capture more customer info, and then that retargeting, that lookalike opens up to you there as well. And so think about that. It's a customer that's already gone to Amazon, purchased your product, presumably a full purchase customer in that case. So you have the warmest audience that you're then building out more audiences from. There's really no better customer as a starting place to build more of your list. And so to your point, that's huge. If you can add in even more checks, even more places in which you have more customer identification and more audience building, definitely take advantage of it.
Okay. So here is a question, like if we have a product of high ticket item, like if we have a product of $150 or more than $100, then it would be insane to give a free product. So
Mm-hmm.
what would be the strategy on those high ticket items?
Yeah, there's usually two directions I would recommend for higher ticket items. If there's opportunities to cross sell across your brand, across your product line, it's a really great and almost shameless way of highlighting some of your additional products. And so if the numbers do make sense, and you can give away, whether it's a supplement, whether it's an accessory, something that is in addition to and helps to benefit the experience of the customer, that's a great first step. But the second step, the one that's another great fallback, is warranting and registering that product. Is when a customer uses their resources to make a higher ticket purchase, anytime you could reinforce that and give them more peace of mind, you're more likely to have them follow through, for them to give you relevant information, including phone number, email, all that great contact information that really paints a picture of who that customer is and how you can reliably contact them. A warranty and a registration is another great way to go. Honestly, the two that we highlight, we actually have free flows for both of these, is both the warranty and then the free gift. Those are two great defaults, but I like for sellers to think about, hey, if there's ways of highlighting that you have, I'm trying to think of a good high ticket item. I know somebody who sells, furniture. So let's say maybe it's a cover for a piece of furniture or a piece of fabric, something that can really supplement it. Keep in mind, anything that you have in FBA inventory, you can send via MCF orders, via these same type of channels, the same way we do for the free gifts. That just creates a better buying experience and may make the initial purchase more optimal. It may just reinforce, I made a great decision. I'm now enjoying this product even more because now I have something that just gives me that much more value as I experience, as I use it, each day.
Yeah, right. Okay. But I have seen regarding the warranty options, like there are few buyers who, what they do, they claim the warranty right before 2 days of their warranty date. So if we are giving the warranty for 1 year, they claim the warranty right before the completing of 1 year. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a great point. The language and the terms of your warranty are very important. It's something you want to make sure you feel good about before you make customer facing at all. So I would say, coming from a place of being more conservative, I know a year is a great default, 2 years, those are sort of more commonplace, but potentially testing, especially when you're first rolling out, like a 6-month warranty, something that's slightly unique. Understanding, again, you got to run your numbers and make sure that you can facilitate that. And based on the product too, you could identify what qualifies for a warranty. Is it some type of supplement? Is it service? Is it support? What does that warranty entail? Because I think the default of multiple years, and then a full sort of reimbursement or a refund gets to be very cost intensive, almost cost prohibitive, because you're essentially just sending out a bunch of free products. And so really going through your numbers, being okay with doing something a little bit more atypical, not those longer durations of time, and also just thinking about more support and service oriented, and not the one-to-one where, oh, I've bought one product, so if I have any issues, I get another one of that. And I've seen different executions of this too, where you'll have a customer cover shipping, you'll have to send it to a specific location, you'll have to have that location review and evaluate. And sometimes when they see all of that, you'd be surprised how many are not going to be willing to follow through. If they pay $10, $12 to have to ship something, again, do your numbers, see how much your product costs, what is the typical shipping, what's the destination that they have to send it to. And so adding a few little hurdles in there creates, in the same way, the psychology of it is, you might find, oh man, you have this like 40, 50% of people following through. Well, all of a sudden that gets down to 7 and 8%, but you still get all the benefits of everything we've talked about, of 20, 30% reviews, customer list building, ranking, and like you have all of these positives that can really offset some of the negatives that could come with warranties. So there's a sweet spot to it too, right? Because you don't want to marginalize your customer and have it be have it lack any sort of meaning, but make sure that they have to do a little bit more. I think with strategies, admittedly, like rebates, I think sometimes customers can feel like, oh, well, I should always get free products and I should get it right away. Well, if you add in just a few little things that they have to do, little micro commitments, and 2 or 3 of those, you may see some of those more adverse activities start to taper off.
Okay, great. So we have a question. Okay, so this is the good one.
Awesome. Let's see. What
Can you see the question?
Yeah. What features make
Okay.
more reliable self as compared to other tools available in the market? Yeah, it's a great question. So, I mean, really, what we have focused on in terms of, let's say, specific to chatbots, chat marketing, and ManyChat. And so, there's a lot of things that we've done. And so, as a team, we are sellers ourselves. We have really developed a lot of these things based on what we need to be able to automate high value activities and also maintain very small teams. And so ManyChat in particular, you may have seen we offer free advanced flows. A lot of the things that we've already touched on, there's a free flow that covers free gift flows. There's a free flow that covers warranty and registration. And so we empower sellers really from day one, where if they have the 10 to 15 minutes, they take these highly refined strategies and they just import it into their ManyChat account, and they're ready to go in truly a matter of minutes. And so setting sellers up for success is a huge part of that. And then as we get into the features, it's delivering on automation, focusing on ranking and reviews. And so to speak to very specific features with things like rebates, so we automatically deliver gift cards, we automatically deliver Visa cards, PayPal, Venmo, all of these different rebate types that open up very specific communication channels. So I'll highlight, let's say, Venmo. Really great way when we see 95, 90%, 96% open rates with SMS, when you can request from your customer their phone number so they know that they're going to receive their rebate through that contact method. And then on the other side, you can text, you can use SMS. That power is very, very important. It's a huge point of leverage for you as a seller. Then we have other features such as our blacklist, our deny list, where we can limit any type of customers we don't want to take advantage of our offers, any bad actors that we see. It's a really great control mechanism that works right alongside our Seller.Tools counter, where we can limit. Let's say we only wanted to give away 15 units per day. We can set our counter, we'll have our blacklist in place, and we can just watch the right and appropriate and perfect number of customers come in and take advantage of our offer. And then other supplemental things, where the free gift flow, we can automatically send that free gift from your FBA inventory through the MCF order function. If you've done that in Seller Central, you know how manual and clunky that is. And you know, if it takes you 2 minutes each time, and you've got to do that, 15, 20 times a day, and then you have to do that 100 times per week. These little optimizations, these little pieces that help with automation are very crucial if you're trying to grow your business and not just maintain it. And so those are a few features that come to mind. The free flows also, like I said, where it just, we know that the complexity of ManyChat can be most intimidating. And so we thought, okay, what's the biggest thing slowing sellers down? It's developing these really big ManyChat flows. Well, if we give those away for free, we've sort of plucked out any excuse where ManyChat's available to everyone now. You can just now tap into the best features that give you the best competitive advantage in your space. So yeah, those are a few that come to mind.
Yeah, exactly. Because I do remember when I started to use this ManyChat flows, it takes me around 4 to 5 hours per day just to rebate the customers.
Right.
And that was like, okay, I am doing really good, and what I am stuck with. I mean, this is really something I need to think about. So thank you for the Seller.Tools. They really help the sellers a lot with this automation. Really.
Yep. Been there too. Like I said, that we sort of solved our own problems initially. That was the ideas behind some of these features. Of we just saw having to spend manually verifying orders, manually sending out rebates, running through each one of those steps by logging into these different tools and having to click through, and that time really adds up. You sort of not only the human delays, but that shows up to your customer too, right? When they have to wait those handful of minutes for you to do the order verifications, handful of minutes to do rebates, like it shows up to them too. And when we can take all of the human error and human delays out, and we can really deliver on automation, that's where these mini chat flows really, really shine.
Okay.
Awesome. How to ask for positive reviews? Yep, this is a great question. So I definitely want to encourage to take a look at our latest free mini chat flow that covers the strategies that we touched on. That free gift flow, what it does. And again, I don't want to mention the Amazon API. Again, this is the technical stuff that we get to tackle to just make available. Is that, think of that request review option in Seller Central, where you can manually click a button. The result is an email goes out to a customer to request, and it's Amazon branded. It's really slick. It's really cool how we're able to utilize that. What we've done in ManyChat is we have an API call. That's just a fancy way of saying, hey, Amazon, complete this step. And so what we'll do is we'll request and complete that API call, and at the appropriate timing, we'll send out a Amazon TOS compliant branded email to that customer. So what we sort of do is we mesh these two worlds, these two steps, where you have this whole journey in ManyChat where you're engaging with the customer, you're delivering value, you're providing support. And then what we can do through the Seller.Tools API is just time when that review request gets sent out. It's really, really powerful in the sense of, I'm sure the spirit of this question is, asking for reviews within a ManyChat flow, whether it's through Messenger, whether it's through SMS, whether through email, is just the concern of using the right language, getting reported in some way. And that concern is valid. And this implementation, what we've delivered, addresses it head on. It just creates the timing in which we complete that trigger for the review request. And so we take the Amazon 2S compliant piece, we just bolt it onto our review flow, and just decide when it gets sent out. We just say, okay, 10 days after this step is completed, man, that would be a perfect time to send this customer an Amazon 2S compliant review request. And so that's really what we do. And we give sellers the potential, even though that's how it's configured in our free flows, you can really alter this however you would like. It's just a matter of the timing. What trigger are you setting to send out that review request?
Okay, great. Guys, if you have any more questions, please comment. Meanwhile, I would like to ask you, what products do you recommend? Or I mean to say, products in terms of what criteria actually you follow?
Oh man, I'm very biased in terms of domestic, so US based products. That tends to bring me more into health and beauty, sometimes fitness, supplements, and so I'm getting back into those spaces now. I took a quite a bit of time off as a seller, just focusing on Seller.Tools. But those are the categories I really like, mostly because of logistics. I know usually they're more cost intensive, but with a lot of sourcing challenges and issues getting products to their ultimate destination, I would rather pay a premium to have a locally sourced product end up at a fulfillment center. So I'm a little bit atypical in that sense, but I would say as a general recommendation, in terms of BSR and potential, well, I guess I should speak from most recent experience. We have recently gotten to categories where we saw that there was the sales volume, we saw that there was a clear winner, and we saw that there was under optimization across the category. And so what you start to see is this really high density of there is a sort of a clear and definite winner. We usually find that through conducting keyword research. So we'll look at R2A, our reverse ASIN tool, and we'll sort of see, hey, somebody's winning a high density of keywords, and then there's a massive drop off, whether it's in the second, third, fourth position, but there is that clear winner. And then we'll evaluate the optimization. We'll dig into some of the listings and say, hey, Do they sort of know what they're doing? Are all of the images filled out? Do they have a built-out Q&A? Are they active in engaging and really leveraging, whether it's posts, whether it's videos on listing, how media rich, how built out is their listing and truly optimized? And so it's not overly fancy, but that's really one of the ways that we stumbled on one of our most recent brands. Is we looked for clear disparity where there wasn't a large cluster of competitors all fighting, but there was a definitive winner where if we could at least nestle into that top 5, we could have a sizable return, because we were looking at categories that are fairly saturated. One product that comes to mind, it's, if I threw it out there, you'd be like, no way. Like it's, you never compete in that category. But that this criteria was sort of fitting, where there was a standout in terms of a top competitor, but there was room to get into some of the top positions, optimize, leverage some of the strategies that we know in terms of rebates and review capture. And we definitely had to we have to turn that up quite a bit, because this is a category where it's tens of thousands of reviews. So both the quantity and quality of reviews were absolutely essential. So I don't necessarily buy in to some of the shorthands where you look for, BSR and then price point. And I've seen too many exceptions to the rule. But having said that, these are some of the pieces I look at more. I look at keyword research. I look at the competitive landscape. I look at optimization. Do some of these sellers know the strategies that we know? And you can typically see that, right? If you start looking at BSR performance over time, you start really watching some of their keyword ranking, top positions, or most important keywords, you can really get an indication of how they're truly performing and how much room there is for you to come into a space and compete. Did I lose you?
इंटरनेट गया, आपका आ ही नहीं रहा, इधर नहीं आ रहा.
Oh, looks like I can check out some of the questions myself. Let's see here. All right, let's see here. Yeah, let me see if I can answer some of these other questions that came in. I just noticed I could see the questions too, so sorry about that. Can you hear me okay?
Okay, so yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so awesome. So what I understood from your conversation, like you see the demand in the category, and then you see if we can beat the competitors with our branding, with our good appearance. If it is okay, then you jump in and then you create your space.
Yes, and I would say focus more on the keyword research side of things. That's where, for product research, that's where I don't spend as much time necessarily in BSR or price point or any more of the, I would say, the modeled way of looking at product research. I look at keywords. If I already see the potential for a category or product, then I start seeing who's winning keywords, how are they doing over time, is it consistent performance, is there a clear winner, or is there a sort of a cluster of competitors that are doing quite well? Because if it's less density, if there's not as much in one position, but the top 10 are all just rock stars, truly optimized, great reviews, they look like they know what they're doing with ranking, I might check out from that category and look at the next one. But the keywords, that's still, I mean, we really stress, especially with what we do with our tools, is keywords are the most crucial piece. When you optimize, when you go to rank, when you focus on PPC, but let that inform when you get into a market as well.
Okay, so what is the search volume you see on those keywords, and how many keywords are good to go for your product?
Yeah, I mean, for if I keep taking the one example that we have, it was just under, I want to say, for the For the main keyword, not the what I would say the most specific, because it's slightly niched down. The most specific keyword was just under about 10,000 search volume. But there's broader keywords that have potential as well. And so one of the big strategic pieces that we focus on, and this is something I try to stress for sellers, is think about winning the battles, which usually show up in your longer tail keywords and then your mid-range keywords. Sort of bring in and start winning those before you go after the big, the garlic presses of the world, the vitamin C serums of the world. Go for vitamin C serum for face with a key ingredient. Go for hyaluronic acid serum. Start winning those longer tail keywords, and make your way up, winning those battles up to the larger the war. I'll call it.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the long one.
Okay, let's see. If we search a product through tools and tools stats reads favorite, we then start at sourcing. Precautionary measure, stats do not change. Should we drop that product and start over again? Yeah, this is a great question, and it's a big reason why I'm such a big fan of domestic products, because this can happen, right? Lead times can create to a shift in opportunities. I would say generally, there's a lot of factors that could come into play here, right? What type of investment have you made? What MOQ did you have to meet? What sort of favorable terms that you have? Because in this scenario, if you have something that is truly exceptional and you have a clear competitive advantage, I would continue to go deeper. But if I find that this product is something that the landscape may have changed considerably, I've lost a competitive advantage, I would do the same type of analysis of diving into the keywords at this step. So what you may find yourself doing is doing keyword research to determine a winning product, to then start sourcing it. And then as it gets closer to that time of being at a fulfillment center, I would redo my keyword research, and I would see, hey, where am I at relative to my product? Where are things standing with top competitors? And that really should inform how much opportunity is there, right? And I'm very big. So again, with using chat marketing, if that's your competitive advantage, there's nothing wrong with it. But just make sure you're going deeper in one area where okay, I've got a great product I'm bringing to Amazon, but maybe my product is a lot like everyone else's, but I do that keyword research. I understand ManyChat and chat marketing intimately, and that's my competitive edge. That's where I know, okay, I can rank this product reliably. I can easily automate capturing reviews, and I can compete in this space as well. And the only other thing I would add to this as well is not feeling like you have to be the top product, top seller for every single keyword. Understanding that if you win some, if you're in the mix, so you're competing for others, you can still create a very exceptional business. You should always be focused on keyword ranking, but don't feel like unless you're number one for every single keyword that you're starting an underwhelming business. But understand that plays into my strategy as well. If I'm number 2 or 3 for a keyword that has 40, 50,000 search volume, I'm usually generating a ton of revenue. I'm still, turning over a lot of product and creating a sizable business. If a negative review is already given by the customer, the Seller.Tools helps sending a request to the customer. So we don't do this automatically necessarily. But a few things to keep in mind here. So is this a customer that you have facilitated an offer? Have they bought a product after you've engaged with them through ManyChat? So do you know who this customer is? Do you have their contact information, which should be some of the core objectives of your ManyChat flow, notably things like email, SMS. So if you own that experience, which is always great, this is where ManyChat really stands out, then you have ways in which you can automatically follow up with them and say, hey, where could we have done better? How can we support you? This is a big reason why you weigh this against PPC, Amazon PPC, which can be great. But what you're really doing is you're putting a billboard on Amazon. You're saying, this is a highly trafficked area. I want a lot of visibility. I want somebody to click and to buy. But you don't know who that customer is, and you have no means of getting back in touch with them. So in weighing those two, different scenarios, you can see here where something like ManyChat really, really stands out. So the other side of it is if this customer, again, through your post-purchase, if you have product inserts, if you have a sticker, some way that you've engaged with them, again, via ManyChat, you do have a means in which you can follow up with them, which you can say, hey, we'd love to send you a $10 Amazon gift card for your troubles, and leave it open-ended. You don't have to incentivize them taking steps. You're just supporting them. You're providing a better buying experience, a better customer experience by virtue of knowing who your customer is. That's sort of the downside of PPC, right? Somebody shows up, clicks your ad, and then buys. Where in ManyChat, we know your name, your face, your location, your contact information. When we verify your orders, we know your address. We know all of this stuff. And so, it really helps out in these situations. Negative reviews included. And I know that feeling. When you get a negative review, the math it's so tough. You get one star. The 5 stars that you often need to make up that ground. Those are the stuff, that's the stuff that stresses you out. I know all too well.
Okay, great. So I guess that's it. And I really thank you again. And in our Pakistani way, बहुत बहुत shukriya. It means thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Yeah, thank you. I wish I had something. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care, Roy.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. Bye. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining today. और मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि आज का भी जो वीकली राउंड अप है वो काफी हेल्पफुल रहा होगा आपके लिए। और जो सेलर और टूल्स के फ्लो हैं बहुत इजी हैं, ठीक है, इजी टू मैनेज है, इजी टू सेटअप है। तो आप इनको जरूर यूज करें, स्पेशली रिव्यूज के लिए, ठीक है। रिव्यूज जो हैं वो जो हमारा अपना जो है जो ई-कॉमर्स गैलेक्सी का जो कोर्स है, नेटवर्क प्रोग्राम है, उसमें तो हम ये लाजम करवा रहे हैं सब स्टूडेंट्स पे कि उनके प्रोडक्ट के अंदर इंसर्ट कार्ड होना चाहिए और उस पे क्यूआर कोड होना चाहिए और वो इस चीज को यूज करें और इसका बेनिफिट लें वैसे ही जैसे 8-9 फिगर सेलर जो है वो ले रहे हैं। तो आप भी इसको लाजमी एक्सप्लोर करें और इसको यूज करें। एटलीस्ट इस चीज से तो आपकी जान छूट जाएगी कि आपको रिव्यूज के लिए स्पेशली जो है वो ऑर्डर्स लेने पड़ते हैं और फिर उनके ऊपर आपको रिव्यूज लाने पड़ते हैं। तो आज का जो है वो सेशन इधर कंप्लीट करते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच। आप मिलेंगे हम नेक्स्ट वीक में एक नए गेस्ट के साथ। तब तक के लिए मुझे इजाजत दीजिए। टेक केयर। अल्लाह हाफिज।